Okay, so welcome to today's training. My name's Robert, and here to cover the basics of the features of how to use the editing tools. So what you want to do is you want to go into where the magic wand is here on the blue circle, hit create, and then we're going to go ahead and hit build worlds. And I have already created a scene already, which is this tropical scene. I have named it training. So we're going to go ahead and click on the edit scene, which is this pencil right here. And if we do get disconnected for whatever reason, just know that I am recording this, so we will have a full recorded training here. But you might hear my voice go in and out because of the internet speed here. So okay, so what I want to talk about next is how to use the adjusters. So I'm going to go ahead down right here and just select this rock right here. And as I click on it, okay, let's get a little closer. You'll see this, I call it the X, Y, and Z adjuster. So if you left click on the blue line right here and just pick it up, it's going to move it this way. If you click on the green line right here, move it left and right, and if you clicked on the red line, it's going to move it forward and back. So that's most important. It took me a little bit to try to figure that out when I first came in here, but as you click on things, you'll realize what the purpose is for that. So now if I hold down on my keyboard, if I hold the control down, what's going to happen is now I can rotate it. So if I hold left click on the blue circle right there, or the ring, it's going to rotate it left and right. If I grab the green, it's going to rotate forward and back. And then the red will be basically left and right. Okay. So now, one thing I'm going to add to this. When you're adding objects into a scene, okay, now, for instance, say this rock right here, I just totally changed the look of this rock by rotating around. If you bring in like multiple objects that are totally different, what's going to happen is you're going to ramp up the draw calls, which is basically how your computer processes all these digital items. Okay, so especially when it's coming to like building out like the land features and stuff, you can pretty much use the same item, but it will look different depending on how you have it turned, how you have the size of it, and actually the texture of it. Okay, so this rock right here is the same rock I have over there, but as you can see, it totally looks different, right? So keep that in mind when you're creating your scenes, to make sure that you don't overwhelm the scene with so many different 3D assets that it basically creates the platform to lag. So if you have experienced any lag in any of the experiences that you've gone to, it's basically the creator has put a lot of stuff in there, and your computer has to process all that. So just want to make that a note. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add more objects to the scene here. So what you want to do is you want to go up to the tools right up here. Click on tools, and we're going to go into inventory. Okay, so here's inventory. Right now I have it on systems. Seeing that we're on systems, I'll just go over the basics of this. The systems are basically your audio, the directional light, the point light, the spawn point, and other styles of lighting, as well as a trigger volume. Okay, so with the audio emitter, that's basically putting sounds in the experience. Now you can put in a square audio, you can put in a sphere audio. It just means that if you come in contact with that, you are going to hear that audio. Okay, not going to talk about the camera. Basically, cameras, you can put cameras in there to where, say if you want to run like a TV show or whatever, you can have different angles that you can switch from on your keyboard, but we won't get into that right now. Directional light, you can only have one directional light in an experience. And seeing that we're talking about directional light, I'm going to explore that more. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into tools, and we're going to go into the scene objects, and right up here I'm going to go ahead and type in directional light. I'm going to go find the directional light. Right here's the directional light. I'm going to go ahead and right click on this, and then I'm going to hit focus so I can go find the directional light adjuster, okay? So here we are. So this is the directional light. You can only have one directional light in the experience. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move the directional light off of the area where it looks like there's the sun. So I'm going to go ahead and move it like this so you can see it move. Let's move it down. Oh, let's move it this way. Okay, so you can see the light right here shining. I'll just put it like this. Okay, so now you can see that there's it looks like it's a sun right here, and then you have a sun right here, or light. We'll just call it light, okay? Most important is making sure that you do have your directional light set right in your experience. And you'll be able to tell, a couple ways you can tell is just the way the light is, you know, how it's reflecting, okay, how you're getting shadows. Now, because we're in edit mode, you're not going to get the full directional light solution going on there because we're not in regular mode. So the directional light's not going to look very realistic, but not to worry. What we're going to do is, all you have to do is go and click on your directional light, and we're going to go ahead and, let me make sure I'm on it. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit Control, and now I'm going to move the light where the sun should be. Okay, so let me go ahead and rotate it this way. There we go. Let's move it right into where, okay, and let's get a little closer to it. That looks pretty close to being right where the sun is. So, oh, totally, there we go.
I have a question when you have a moment, Roger.
Absolutely, go ahead.
So I'm assuming by watching you do this, there is no option just to go back to to quickly go back from anything you've changed.
Okay, so if you want to, okay, so say you made a major, say you totally dropped out the whole floor in the experience, like how do I put that back? That's going to take a while. The
Uh-huh.
to go back is basically Control Z. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control and then hit Z.
Z.
Yep.
Z like zit? Okay,
Yes,
good.
Control Z. Okay. So now this is the thing. If you keep hitting Control Z to the point where you just came into the experience, it's basically going to kick you out of Sansar. So if there isn't anything, any changes that you made, and you hit Control Z and there's no changes, you're just going to shut your Sansar down. Okay. So
Okay.
don't. So if you are alarmed, like, oh, what happened? It's because you basically exited out of Sansar. Okay. So let's go
So
ahead.
if I've saved something
Mm-hmm.
and then I forget that I've saved it and I want to go back on something I edited,
Mm-hmm.
if it's already been saved, there's been no new edits, it'll take you out of Sansar. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct. Yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's line this up again. So there's the sun. Uh, and as you can see, you do have like an arrow pointing which way the sunlight is going. That also helps in getting the right direction of the sun. So I think we're pretty good right there. Let's go ahead and make sure it's right there. Okay, so perfect. So let me go ahead. Now you can see how the sun is shining on the trees. Everything looks about right. Okay, and then let me go ahead and move back a little bit just to see where I put the directional light. Everything looks good. Okay, let me go ahead and save that. So directional light is very important in a scene. It totally will change the ambiance of what you have created. Okay. Now let's go ahead and, seeing that we're talking about skyboxes, let's go ahead and change this skybox. Let's go look for another skybox. So we're going to go into Tools, go into Scene Settings. Okay, so of everything that you put in the scene, the skybox and sounds are not in. Wait, let me back up a little bit. The sky box settings are in the scene settings. Okay, anything that you add into your scene as an object will be in your inventory. Okay, so there's been people like, man, I've been trying to change my skybox. I don't know where to change it. it's going to be in your scene settings, okay? So right here, so if you buy a skybox off of Sansar, just know, I mean, it's going to show up in your inventory, but the thing is, this is where you're going to select it to put it in your scene. So it's going to be in the scene settings, go where it says skybox, and click down, and let's go ahead and change it to another one. Let's go beach dusk. Let's give it a little bit of time to process. You go ahead and bring down the fog. There we go. So we just adjust the new skybox to another scene, which, you know, I'm not going to go with that one because it has, I don't like when folks put buildings and stuff in the scenes like that because it totally changes the look of this. Let's go back to the scene settings. Let's find something else here. Let's go to Pacific Morning Sea. Let's see what that looks like. Did everybody get into the store.sansar.com yesterday and download some free assets off the store? If so, keep doing that. Just keep, you know, it's going to take time to fill up your inventory with all that free stuff, and it's going to help you with building out scenes and having stuff to put in your scenes, for one. Okay, so let's go ahead and change the fog color. Let's just move it right there. Let's move everything off. Let's see what happens when we take all the fog out. Okay, so it gives it totally changed the scene. It's like making it like it's totally yellow now. Okay, so of course it's not what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go back to the scene settings again, and I'm going to look for another skybox. Okay, so let's look for, here we go, Beach 04. Let's see what that comes out with. There we go. That looks a lot better. Okay.
Robert, I have a question.
Yep.
If I don't like the names of the skyboxes, can I change them like inventory, or will they show up in my skybox?
That's a great question. Let's go test that out. So Beach 04, let's look into our settings or into our inventory. Okay. Open up inventory. You need to go up to all sources. Beach 04. And there we have it. So let's go, what we're going to do is right click on it and it says rename. So I'm going to go ahead and rename it Beach Skybox 1. Okay, rename. So then when we go back into our inventory, just going to, it should be, let's go look for it again. Just type in beach. And there we have it right there. So to answer your question is yes, you can actually rename. And that's actually a great point because as you start building up your inventories, you'll basically go off of what you remember, right? Of how it was labeled. And a lot of folks like to just come up with these crazy names that don't even match up with the actual 3D asset, you know, for what it is, right? So I would say a good rule of thumb is when you download something, label it with something that you know what it's going to be. So that way when you're building a world, you're not, you know, looking all over the place. You can't find what you're looking for because it's labeled something crazy that you couldn't remember. Because what's going to happen is you're going to go back to Sansar. It's just time. You're going to be taking time to figure that out. But at the same time, you might end up buying stuff because you're looking for a specific item that you want to put in your world. Okay? So that was a great question, Shelly. And so there we go. So let's go back into the skybox. Let's look for the sun. So now the sun is up here. We have the sun coming from this way. What we need to do now is move it up to the sky up this way, okay? So let's go back. Let me go ahead and hit F for focus. And that is where the sun is now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control. And I'm going to move the sun this way. And now I'm going to turn it just like that. Okay, so now let's look at how it looks, and that looks more realistic. Let's see what this is. Let's just click on this water here. I just want to see what's underneath the water. And I guess there is no water on this. This is all desert. But I may go ahead and keep the water there. Just like that. Okay. And if I want to enlarge this water and have it go all the way to the end, I'm going to go ahead and hit Control Shift, and then I'm going to open it up like this. Now, if it's a really big, if I got to make the object bigger, what you can do is right click on the adjuster right here. Okay, so I'm going to right click on the water. I'm going to go into Properties, and I can scale it this way just by putting a value in. So I'm going to put it to 100. Okay, and hit Enter, and there we have it. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and start bringing in more items. Let's go up to the tools. Let's go into the inventory. And let's go ahead, seeing that we're on a beach, we're going to go ahead and add a beach mattress. There we go. Let's go ahead and add a VR beach ball. All I'm doing is left clicking on the object and dragging it into the scene. Okay, there we go. Let's see what else we can add. Wooden cabin beach. Let's see what that is. Let's go ahead and add a cabin over here. There we go. So we can go ahead and move this over here. Let's bring it up a little higher. Let me slow down my camera. Okay, so we have a little beach cabin. We have a little floating mattress with a beach ball. That looks consistent to what would be on a beach. So let's see what else we can add into this inventory. So if you want to add things right in your inventory from Sansar, there's this little button right here. It says Shop the Store. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that beach out there. Let's go into Shop the Store. So there's two ways you can get into the inventory. You can get into through the website itself, the Sansar website itself, or you can go through the actual inventory. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on that. Now, when you're in your Sansar store, this number right here, this is the value of Sansar dollars that are in my account. Basically, this is about $7 worth of US dollars, but they call it Sansar dollars, which is the conversion rate, I believe, is 250 US dollars equals 1 Sansar dollar if you decide to cash things out, or if you decide to sell things from your Sansar store to actually make money. Okay, so again, as I mentioned in the other video, that there is an economy here, so that's actually a good thing. So you could actually be finding objects inside Sansar that people will let you to resell, and then you resell them to people that that like what you do, like your skills, like your worlds that you build, right? So they'll say, hey, I want to buy that, and you say, hey, it's in my store, go get a copy of it, right? Okay, so let's go find some beach stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and type in beach, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go right here, and I'm gonna just type the lowest to highest on the price, so I see all the free stuff first. And let's go ahead and let's go ahead and find, we already got a palm tree. So this is actually going to be assignment 2. I would like everybody to make a beach with water, put some palm trees on it, and find a beach ball. All that stuff should be free in Sansar. And then tomorrow's training, we will actually go and see how everybody did with their island in Sanzar. Okay, so I already got that. So let's see what else we got here. Um, okay, so let's go back up this way. I do not think. Let's see here. Let's go and get these cones right here. Okay, so the item has been added to the inventory. Let's go back into the inventory. So we go ahead and click up here, and as you can see, like Shelly mentioned yesterday, anything that you add new to the inventory will always show up in the front right here in the top left hand corner. So let's go and add that to the scene. Now, seeing that we're talking about these items here, let me go ahead and move these up on the stage. I want to talk about dynamic. Oh, okay. Let's go over this way over here. Let's go to the beach ball. Let's talk about static. Let's talk about dynamic, and let's talk about keyframed. Okay. Now these three functions are very important when you're building in Sansar. Okay. When I first built in Sansar, I started making everything dynamic just to see what it would do, and it was actually a happy mistake because I was building a world up in space that I wanted to have like asteroids and stuff flying by and everything like that. Well, what happened is the whole world was dynamic. Basically, when I rezzed in, the whole world just basically exploded on me, and it just flew in every direction. That's because if you make an object dynamic, you're giving it the ability to actually move around. If you make it static, it's going to stay in one place. Okay. If you make it keyframed, you're giving it the ability to where you can put a script on it, meaning that you can animate the object. Okay. So for this particular object, because it's a beach ball, we're going to keep it dynamic, and I want to make sure people can pick it up, and then I guess the beach ball you won't really stand on top of it, but we'll go ahead and let people stand on it. And we'll go ahead and change the sound to a plastic sound. Let's find plastic. Let's see, not glass. We'll make it like a silent blocking sound. Okay. It's got a mesh on it already, has collision, and if I want to make the beach ball bigger, Control Shift. Make it bigger, bring it up like this, and let's duplicate. So if I want to copy and duplicate this, I'm going to go ahead and hit Control D, and then I'm just going to move it over. Let's go and change the size of that. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do something with this. Let's go ahead and move this out to the water. That's where I would have this, and I'm just going to make it static so it stays in the water. Let me go ahead and hit F to focus on it. There we go. We'll make it float right there. Let's duplicate it again. There we go. His and hers. Maybe move it this way a little bit. Let's go ahead and move a beach ball over there. Duplicate it. Bring it over here. Okay. And I'm just going to make this static. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and hit, we're going to go ahead and just build. So when you build, it'll automatically save for you. So today, most important is the lighting in the scene and adding objects into your inventory where you can add them into your scene. Okay, so let's go ahead and visit. Okay, so let's go. And as you can see, the balls are rolling off. I don't have a floor on this, so the balls are going to disappear. I'll have to put in like a sand bottom for the beach, so that way it's more realistic. But let's go ahead and go over here. So the only basically grounds that I have, or ground that I have, is the sand right here. But if I jump off this, I'm just gonna fall and then res back in. Okay, so but there's oh, there I go. I fell off the scene. So let's go ahead and put some. Let's put an ocean floor on that. Okay, so let's go back into edit the scene. And let's go find an ocean floor. Let's go into inventory. Let me type in ground. Let's see what we come up with. Let's see here. I got a better idea. Let's go to, let me type in art. And I'm just going to find something flat to put on the bottom. And then I'll retexture it. So today I may throw in a quick little texture on it. Okay, let's do this. Cube. Okay. Or you know what? I got a better one. Let's go find rug. Outdoor rug. Okay. So let me go ahead and take this rug. And I'm going to show you a little trick to making a flat floor. So let's see if I put this underneath. You can still see it. Let's hit focus on it. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to right click on it, go into properties, and I'm going to make this 200. Okay, so now we got a floor. That's a pretty big rug, but what we're going to do is we're going to make it look like there's sand on it. Okay, let's make it a little bigger. Let's go 400. There we go. Put it below right there. There we go. So now we're going to retexture that, and let's make it a sand bottom. So I'm jumping ahead just a little bit, but I want to make sure that we have a ocean floor here. So I'm going to go into materials, and then I'm going to go into my textures. So sand, there we go. Let's do the sand. One more time, that was the edge. This is the center of it. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so let me go ahead and scale that right. There we go. Let's go ahead and just type in 40. And let's make this more yellow. There we go. Okay, so we quickly put in a ocean floor. So now that when the ball rolls off, it's not going to get lost. Looks good. Let's move it up just a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and build. So do we have any questions? Okay. So, does everybody understand how to buy things off the Sanzar store and get it into your inventory?
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward.
Self-explanatory. Okay,
Mhm.
perfect.
Yep. Oh, I did have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Before we're done here today, can you show me where the quests are and sands are so I can build up those dollars?
So
Because I
Sanzar,
understand. Sorry, go ahead.
yep. So Sanzar actually took those out.
Oh,
And the reason being is because I think they're having a lot of people spamming that, meaning that they're just creating alt accounts, going in there, doing the quests, and making Sansar dollars. And then because those are actually when you get Sansar dollars, that you can actually cash out for real U.S. dollars. So I'm not sure exactly the reason, but I overheard that was being abused, so they took the questing system out. Okay.
okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. So as soon as
When
this
you say they took the questing system out, you mean they took out their quests, but we can still create quests.
Correct, correct. Yeah, they took out their quests where you could build it up to like 150 cents or dollars, right? But you'd have to go through all their quests that they made for you. They took those out, but they did not take out the questing system, which that's going to be that'll be towards. I would say I'd probably go through that towards the end of this because the main thing first is we got to get everybody to understand the basics of how to edit in here first because the questing system will send you in a tailspin. It'll be a little bit overwhelming to understand what is happening in that. But that I think we will cover that at the very end as maybe a bonus.
The other thing, can you post this world
Mm-hmm.
in here in Discord so that for anybody on the course who wants to go in and actually visit the world that you're creating to see how their avatar interacts with it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, how many folks are actually in Sansar right now? Most of everybody here.
Well, they're not currently in Sanzar. They don't have
I am.
computers. That's going to be
Okay.
another thing. But
I am. I'm in
yeah,
Sanzar now.
there you go.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll post this. I'll go ahead and I'll make this a live world, but I won't publish it in Sansar. So what I'll do is I'll send you the link. Everybody needs to friend me, DNA Elite in Sansar. Send me a friend request right now, and then once I get that request, I'll go ahead and copy the world and send it to you. Okay. So once the world is done building here, we can all go visit it, and we can go ahead and interact in it. So today is going to be kind of light. I just want to get you folks back into just start bringing a bunch of objects into the world. It doesn't don't worry about how it looks and where it's at. Just my main thing is I want to make sure that you can get objects into Sansar, get this buy the stuff off the store for free, of course, or get stuff off the store for free, and then get it into the scene. Okay, because what I found is when you're say when you get an idea, right? You just want to get all the stuff that you need. This is my way to where it builds really fast. I'll just get all the stuff I need. I'll put each object into the world. I might put it to the side, and then all I'm doing is I'm grabbing the object, duplicating it, putting it where I want to have it, right? Versus clicking into the inventory, looking for it, and if I already know what I want in the scene, I'll put everything in the scene right away, and then I'll duplicate, move things around to make the build go very quick. Okay. So I think because this was a very large object, it's taking time for everything to process here. So just give it a little bit. We should be almost there. It says it's building the scene. But did anybody have any questions on the actual editing tools? Does everybody understand how to, move things X, Y, and Z? Uh, Everybody knows how to rotate things, and everybody knows how to basically shrink and enlarge the objects.
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. So by the end of this course, we all should be able to make a tropical island with palm trees and with water in it, and then what we'll do is we'll all get together and we'll all take a tour of everybody's location and and uh, and hang out.
Sounds good.
Yep. So today, I do have an overlapping appointment. I'll have to basically close up by 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in about 10 minutes here. So the last part that I want to cover with you folks is the audio bubbles. Okay. We did mention about bringing audio in the scene. Now, this is what I can say. The more audio you put in the experience, the more the experience is going to have life in it. Okay? Now, the downside of it is depending where you put the audio, how loud the audio is, um, how many different sounds you put in could affect someone's actual mic in Sanzar. So if you have an issue where someone's just breaking up, the audio is just like cracking up, that means that the audio sounds or effects that you have in the scene is basically disrupting it. So far as like the science behind it, all I can say to you is it's like this. Um, if you have collision in a world, the sound hits it, the sound will actually bounce off it and travel different directions, right? So as the sound is emitting, it's actually creating these directions of, if you can actually see the sound waves going, that could actually create interference in people's mics when you're talking to them, okay? Not that it's a bad thing, it's just that's what I've noticed when people are really heavy on audio. So what I do, think of it this way. Would you want to add a bunch of individual sounds, say a bird chirping or the wind blowing or people talking as individual sounds? That's going to take time to do, right? Or would you want to just go find an audio sound with all those elements in it? Okay. So what I found that makes the experience work very well and very efficient is I go onto YouTube and I just type in the sounds that I'm looking for. I'll say ocean sound with seagulls and people talking. Surprisingly enough, there is quite a few sounds or videos of those sounds that are in it, right? So what I do is I find something between, I would say between a minute to 8 minutes of sound, okay? And then what I do is I convert that sound from YouTube, MP4 basically, or video. So you can find a converter that says convert from YouTube to MP3. Okay. Now this is the thing. Be careful with putting like music that has copyrights or that you'd have to pay royalty to. Be careful with that. Okay, because if you do stream your your experience on Facebook, what's going to happen is, Facebook's going to shut it down right away. I think in like 20 seconds, if they hear, say you're playing "Beat It" by Michael Jackson, that's definitely going to get shut down right away, and then that feed's not going to be able to go through. Okay. So what I do is I like to type in royalty-free music and load that up. So that way, when I'm streaming, myself being in Sanzar, doesn't get shut down. Okay. But going back to the audio, okay, look for sounds that have everything that you want your experience to have in it, right? And you will be totally surprised how realistic it sounds and feels when you go in there having that one audio play, okay? Now, of course, having emitters in certain locations really gives that spatial sound of what VR has to offer. But the thing is you can get away with having one audio play over the whole mix. Okay, so especially outdoor stuff, you don't need to get too worried about where you have the sounds. But when you're dealing with inside audio, like in a building, that's a totally different situation. Okay, so here we are. I'm gonna go ahead and get everybody, and I'll just post it here in the Info 3D World Building channel here. I'll go ahead and grab this world so you folks can click on it and add it to your queue. So here we go, my worlds. Let me grab it right here. So right here is where you would grab the URL link, or if you were in another world, you want someone to visit, you can create a portal for them. But I'm going to go ahead and copy this URL, hit OK, and I'm going to go ahead and post it in the Discord here. There you go. So it should say Sansar Worlds Training. Okay. Now let's go ahead. Let me just go ahead and visit again. Just get that off my scene. Okay. So let's go interact with the beach balls over there. Of course, they fell off, and because I put the seafloor in, now you can the balls don't fall away. Now you can see it's dynamic. Let's go over to, and of course we didn't have any collision on these beach mattresses, so that will be our next class. Matter of fact, that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Tomorrow what I'm going to do is we're going to go over how to put collisions or volumes on objects. Okay, so that way, you know, it actually, you know, because right now my feet are going through these mattresses. That's because there's no collision on this. Okay. So with that being said, we are at 11:44. The assignment for today will be, let's keep adding to your scene. Let's add more objects to your scene. Okay. And let's get the lighting right. Okay. So go into your scene settings. If you have a sun that's right there, let's go ahead and line the sun up the right way in your scene, which is you're going to go into your directional lighting and adjust that. And then what we'll do is tomorrow we'll start here, and what I like to do is we'll go over the collisions, but what I'd like to do is see someone's scene that we can go visit and see what they have done with it and what they'd like to change with it. But with that being said, my name is Robert Crowley. I really appreciate your time and joining us today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have Shelly go ahead and take over from here and answer any more questions that you folks might have. But until then, we'll see you tomorrow, and you folks have a wonderful day. Take care.